Hi, my name is Abra, and I've created an apartment tour series on my channel. Basically, I get to travel and talk to great people about their home. I was able to film in Paris, New York, Brussels, London, and Berlin. I created the Conversation with Creative series as a place to go in depth about home decor tips, furniture hacks, favorite vintage spots. Alright, get comfortable, and I hope you'll enjoy the show.
So this is, I guess, like the exit interview. You know, it's like when you go for a job. And yeah, I guess like I just wanted to talk more about what you do, because you know you mentioned being a freelancer. I know you via your TikTok account. So yeah, what's your relationship to like social media?
So my TikTok is Rose Olander in one word. It's my full name. And yeah, I just do a little bit of everything. Basically, I try not to make it to one kind of niche or anything like that. It's definitely still just kind of like a hobby for me, so I want to enjoy it as well. And when I first moved to Paris, I was working freelance, but also had lots of time on my hands compared to normal, so I got into the whole TikTok game. So basically, when we first moved, we lived in a gorgeous flat in the Marais, which was kind of like a temporary flat. We loved it so much, and I was really considering like, oh my god, should we stay? So it was like this whole all white space studio with like the amazing stairs in the middle of the room, and it was really beautiful space. It was just tiny. We couldn't really move any of our own furniture, like very little of our own furniture in, like the sofa and stuff. We've never been able to like go there, so we decided to get a new space, but I still miss it sometimes. It was so cool. So I did a little like house tour and stuff before I left, which just like blew up on TikTok completely. Like I could have never even imagined. But people are obviously obsessed with the stairs, so which pretty. I am still to this day. Yeah, so ever since then I've been doing a bit on TikTok, but mostly I work with brands for social. So I'll do like either content for brands or I'll do brand strategy for social media. So a little bit of everything. I love doing freelance. It's so flexible, and I love to work with new brands and have like new challenges all the time, and having to figure out like what the best kind of route for them is.
Do you find Paris inspiring?
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the things about Paris is that everything is so beautiful. Like it's really rare for a city like to have such kind of cohesiveness, and I think French people just care so much about the details. And I think when people think of French people, they think they're like a bit negative, or they can be a bit like particular with things. But I'm understanding more and more how this is how you like achieve excellence. But they'll be like, oh, I don't like this little detail. My personality is very like, but at least it's not, you know, raining, or you spill something on the floor, and I'm like, well, at least it didn't hit your shoe. But I do really like, I really appreciate it.
I never really thought about this way, but I think also that's why, like you said, like sometimes we go to other cities and there is this part where people are like, oh, you're so picky, but I think it's because to us like the small things really matter. You know, I find even for me, like Bordeaux is also like a very beautiful city, so I think when I travel to somewhere else, I like to be like, from the moment I get out, I want to be like, oh wow, this is beautiful. And so going back to home decor, first of all, like what's your style, if you have a definition for it? And then like when you look, you see the trends that we have, a lot of it are trends that, you know, we talked about the beautiful lampshade, and you were like, I grew up with it, you know, like are you like, oh, you look so cute, you're catching up to us, like what's your take on it?
No, I think it's more, I mean, for me anyways, like the things you grow up with, the things you have in your home when you grow up, are not like the things you want when you get older. You're not like, ooh, can't wait to get a paper lamp myself. Like that's not the way I think necessarily. I think it's kind of like turning a bit now because it's so long time ago, so it almost maybe has a bit more like, you know, kind of feeling connected to it, whatever. I mean, I've always loved putting lots of energy in my home. London particularly is just such like an in and out city. Most of the time you'll rent a house that's already furnished. It has a bed, has a chair, it has everything you need, and then you just kind of put up maybe a mirror or whatever. But like most of the time you'll rent furnished things, and I moved there with like a suitcase, so like thank God that exists also, because I didn't come with anything from Copenhagen almost. It's nice to kind of be in a space again where I can like care about the details and like invest time and energy and money into creating like a nice home environment as well. Super fun, you know, searching for pieces and kind of curating a bit your own base and style.
Definitely. Speaking of sense of style, what would you say is yours?
Oh my god, that's so hard. I think it's like so hard to do it with yourself. I mean, I definitely like things to be kind of clean and minimal. I'm not into lots of colors. And then I love a bit of, I mean, my dream is like this type of flat, but with a bit of like an edgy, you know, I always like it to be a bit more rough. Like I don't like it to be too pristine or I guess like I don't want everything to be one style. I like the contrast. So my dream is like this type of flat or like a big warehouse space that you can then make like warmer with other things. But I think without knowing it, it probably is like quite Scandinavian looking.
There's accents, but I think like you said, like for me this flat has a lot of nuances, which I personally really enjoy, because I think, you know, you can look at something and be like, oh, maybe it is giving very Scandinavian, but then you look a little bit and you're like, well, not really, because it's also like kind of like modern, and then, you know, there's so many like touches.
I like that with like my fashion as well. Like I never want anything to be too samey. It's always like finding something that kind of pulls it in a different direction.
For someone who's once again like moving in their space, as someone who moved into their apartment not too long ago, do you have any tips?
I love vintage, but I know it can be really daunting if you don't really know where to start. I mean, I love looking for inspiration on Pinterest. What I like to do with Pinterest is always like try and like pin as much as you can. Just like anything that catches your eye, anything you like. Then when you have a huge board, pick your like 10, 20 favorite things, take those images, whatever it is, put them in a separate kind of document, and then look at it and then see if there's anything like that stands out to you, anything you feel like, ooh, this doesn't match the other photos, and see if you can find some kind of like cohesiveness in those like top picks. A lot of the time you'll end up seeing kind of like red threads, and then you might see like, ooh, I tend to pick images that have this thing. There's so many different beautiful home styles, and with social media, like I think if you follow someone who has like one sense of style and they are really good at that, it can be hard to like not be like, ooh, I love that, and then think that that's your style.
Yeah, that's actually a really good tip. Like even for me, like
I do that still. I still do that like every season. I'll just like pin. Just like both with interiors and with fashion. I'll just like pin, and then I'll try and pick my like top favorites, and then from there be like, ooh, okay, I see these pieces that I need in my wardrobe.
Do you have anything that when it comes to decor, but I guess even fashion, that you have your eyes on?
With fashion, I have so many things. I feel like I'm less decisive with interiors. Because I feel like it's more permanent. So I have a lamp I've seen that I really like, that I think maybe I need to convince Val to get. Like a big kind of like metal, it's a bit like retro space age vibe, and then I really need a coffee table, and those are the two things I'm like desperately in need of.
And yeah, well everyone, thank you for watching, and as always, if you enjoyed this video, you can watch like all of the season 2 apartment tour. Definitely go and check out Rose's TikTok and Instagram is Rose Olander. I'll put it on the screen so you know you don't have to search, and it'll be in the description. And yeah, I'll see you all next week for another video. Bye.
In Conversation with Creative series counts more episodes, and for more apartment tours, you can check out my YouTube channel for the apartment tour series season 2.